Sponsored by the Dunleary Rathdown Local Enterprise Office. You're listening to Business Eye with Joe Dalton and Simon Haig.
Welcome to another week of Business Eye. Yes, we are in lockdown. A lot of people are feeling very frustrated. A lot of people are working from home, and we're discovering that working from home for different people means different things. A lot of people that have small children under the age of 5 may find it difficult than other people that have teenagers that are working from home. Some people are saying that they missed the break between work and home life, where they'd jump in the car and they'd have that downturn, where now when they finish their shift in work, they're straight into the family, straight in working with the kids. Some people find that they're working longer. We also know that a lot of companies are considering maybe keeping a lot of their staff at home. So on this week, I have a selection of guests who are going to talk about how their businesses are growing or coping in this period. We know that the government has a strategy, a step-by-step strategy, which is going to release us all out bit by bit. Some businesses are not going to open for a couple of months. Some businesses are going to open right away. But people are questioning. People are asking questions. Politically, economically, our health system, everything is being asked at the moment, which is quite good because we're slowing down. And when people start asking questions, we solve problems. So, again, as I say, grab your coffee and sit back and let's listen to what our guests have to say today. So today I have Colin Harris. Colin is a managing director of VIP Recruitment, and he also is a co-founder of Ireland Together. I want to speak to Colin today about recruitment, about HR, and what organisations are doing at the moment and what are they planning to do moving forward. Are they going to downsize? Are they going to keep their staff at home? And I believe that Colin would probably be one of the best people to speak to in Dublin about this. Colin, how are you?
I'm very good, Joe. Yourself?
I'm good. I've had my coffee. I have my Cornish pasty. I've got the studio all to myself. So yeah, things are happy in Dublin South FM.
There you go. That's what's needed.
Indeed. Colin, I was just saying there, just introducing you about big changes going on in HR and going on with a large organisations. Are you seeing this at the moment? Are you seeing people looking to downsize their premises in Dublin? What is the mix of what's going on in your industry?
Yeah, so there's definitely a lot of things happening. Let's say majority of my clients will be in the SME sector, but I do work with some larger organisations as well. And there's definitely been consideration and talks about reducing office sizes. I suppose there's been a big, I suppose previously you're looking at offices and they've been crammed in a lot of places. So with the new distancing side of things, we're going to have to see offices reducing numbers. So there's been a mix of companies deciding on whether they will be able to try and get certain teams completely working remote. There's talks of doing shift work almost, where week on, week off, people come into the office or work from home. But there's definitely been talks as well of some larger companies, considering reducing their office sizes overall. I suppose cut the cost on rent. They're realising now it's working. So why should they be paying for an office for 500 people in the city centre when they can reduce it right down?
There's two elements to it as well. One is what the benefits that the employer will see, and then there's the benefits of what the employee will see, and the mix between what's going to work and what's not going to work.
Yeah.
Are these questions that are being thrown up on the table at the moment?
It is as well. So majority of companies are quite careful about that. Unfortunately, there's some who just want to make a decision that will suit themselves better. But I think overall what you are seeing is companies taking into account the employees. They're doing a lot of talking with the employees to make sure that it does suit. There's for people working at home, if there's kids and they may not have the space. A lot of people are living in apartments and it could be full, so you can't get the proper work ethic or the work base there for the person. So I think companies are considering each individual situation when they're offering work from home. So I think what they will be able to do is really put it out there as an optional to see who really wants to take it on. And I think based on that, then they can decide on what kind of level. But I think it's definitely, I suppose a lot of employees like a mix now. I think it's going to be very difficult to get a full work from home. People enjoy getting into the office as well, a bit of banter. It's what a lot of people, they're talking about culture in organizations right now. And it's very difficult for a company to have their culture working while everyone's working remotely. So it's new ways of having to look at it.
Yeah, and it's I think at the end of this, if they put out a flag and say, who wants to work at home, everybody will go no, and they'll all run to the office. Yeah.
I think it is going to be partially for that to begin with. But I think there's also a fear, though. A lot of people are fearing going back to work. I was only having a conversation this morning. I'm also involved in a networking group, and one of the conversations we had this morning is that there is a real fear of people now going back into work. There's also a fear of, during these times of the last month or two, for example, if salespeople, their targets have been dropped drastically, but now things are going to be put back up there. So there's a real fear on employee side of things getting back to normality.
Do some employees fear that they're the imposter syndrome? Do they feel they haven't been performing? Which is okay because everything has stopped in a way. We know that some people are working longer hours and they feel that there's a lot of pressure. Are you finding this in your conversations as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So what you are finding is the world has pretty much stopped. There's still certain areas and sectors that are still going on. Generally, online media space is still quite busy. Everyone wants to be online right now. So, those web development and so on are really busy. But there is that, as I mentioned, salespeople, they haven't really been able to sell. And there's the concern now that companies are going to start needing to demand certain figures. And, the fear is not that they can't do the job, it's that it's just the activity level is not still available fully for people. So there's definitely that where if the economy hasn't picked up enough, it's just not going to come through.
What about HR managers? We know that HR managers rely on the culture of an organisation and speaking to people and monitoring. How is the HR industry going to adapt to possibly the way things will change for the next year or so?
Yeah, look, I suppose I've been talking to lots of HR managers during this time. I do HR consultancy as well, and I act as outsource HR for a number of companies. And those businesses, I suppose, when things kicked off, I was really helping putting people on short time or putting people into redeployments into various other areas. But I think a lot of the HR managers that I've been talking to have really been playing a bit of a blinder as well. They've really sort of opened their eyes and, let's say, have adopted or been very open to trying anything to keep the communication lines between the employees and the company. It's exceptionally difficult. And there's no other way to talk about it. It's exceptionally difficult to keep a culture when people are missing. There's someone I do quite a bit of work with in a great organisation or company, Castleton Consulting, Jeff and Mindy in there. And I know they're working with a particular company, a large organisation, who, and their big thing is working with the leadership teams and working with developing and building the teams out. And they've had to work with them and see how they can work and create this culture. The company are now really embracing the work from home side of things, because there is ways and tricks of doing it as well, but it's just it's very dependent on each individual company.
It is, and as you know, I've been working from home from a long time, so for me it's just like second nature. But what I'm also realising as well is when I'm speaking to a lot of people and I'm ordering a lot of stuff online and I'm working on it through it this way, I'm finding that some organisations, where they're falling down is their customer service. Okay, we can understand that if they're waiting for something delivery or someone's to, call out because of COVID-19, we can't do that. But it's the simple processes of following through after you've had that conversation online. Like I've had a couple of occasions where I've spoke to people, they said, yeah, we'll get that organised. And then I've kind of went, okay, this isn't happening. And I've had to put it in a call and it's fallen between the cracks. And that's for large organisations that I'm even though everyone's going, this is great, they still need to sort out their teething problems.
Absolutely. Look, if companies are being forced to create whole new processes, and that's in every department. It was difficult enough to get departments talking to each other when they were in the offices. Now, as you can imagine, no one being in the same offices, to get the different departments really communicating properly is critical to ensure they're doing it. There's another person that I do some works with, Scott McGuinness of Inspiring Change. He specialised in internal communications. He works with a lot of the HR teams to talk. Number one is to get all of the employees on board and working well together. So things like that of just getting the communication right to get the buy-in from the staff to be able to do their job, but also they need to be given the right tools and the right technologies, etc., to be able, if they are working from home, to be able to conduct their jobs properly.
I think I think the biggest thing what we're learning is that broadband is failing us around the country. Okay, in the cities it's grand, but if you look at the people who are outside the cities, it's failing. And that is something that really needs to be looked at. Like I know even in third world countries, they have better, like the Philippines, they have better internet service than us in rural areas than we have in rural areas. Yeah,
no, I would believe it. We are certainly lacking in it. Even in the city, Virgin recently had a bit of a crash on their system, and there was a sort of rolling blackouts for it. And people really realised then how much we're reliant on it. It disappears for half an hour, we're crippled.
Yeah, it's even that. What I'm seeing as well, which is quite scary, people are relying on the big four social media platforms. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and they seem to be, the ones that everyone's relying on. Is that a good thing or a scary thing as well? Because what people are talking about, and censorship and everything, it's strange what we're starting to depend on. And here's a question: how can we run our businesses if broadband went down for a week?
A very difficult question to answer.
Yeah.
I don't think it will be possible a lot of the time. If we can't get out there and meet with people, we can't get out there and advertise. Is it back to the old days of taking the old yellow pages and making calls? Even if that's printed anymore, it's the only way people find phone numbers now is by Googling it.
Yeah.
So I don't see a way forward that most companies would be capable of continuing.
Scary, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. It's critical infrastructure for the country.
Yeah, definitely. But thank God we have phones. That's it. You could ring someone that knows someone and get their number.
Well, that's what it goes down to. It's the old black book, of the contact.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer in that. But, it definitely is, we are going back to old school methods already. Part of it.
Well, there it is, Colin, as well. Like, you're a great networker. You and me, we run occasional events, which gets people into rooms and gets them talking. Yeah, I wonder how the dynamics of that is going to change moving forward.
Yeah, it's like I've taken part in a number of these online virtual networking events, and look, it's what we can do right now. It's by no means as effective at all as they would be, but there are tools there. Despite all of the security worries when it comes to Zoom, look, if you're not talking about company trade secrets, I don't see a major issue by creating an event and getting people talking on the Zoom platform. But what I do really like, and it's only something recently that I started using, is their breakout rooms.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
It's fantastic, so it does give that sense of smaller, when you go to a networking event, you've got the smaller groups of people breaking off for chat. So it definitely gives that. It's as I said, it's what we can do right now. It'll never replace, I don't think, the actual proper face-to-face conversation.
Look, we're human. We need it. We crave it. People, you can see even in the supermarkets, or you can see when you're queuing up, people are getting tired, and people want an end to this. And the novelty has worn off, as one would say.
It has indeed, absolutely. And I suppose, look, when I talk about you mentioned there, one of the other things that I just recently found was the Ireland Together, along with the fellow great co-founders there, which is Mindy Castleton, Joanne O'Connor, Louise O'Connor and Joanne Griffin. And I suppose what we're trying to do is create a sense of community within that, which is what people are missing right now. And, if you can't get out and talk to people at networking, we want to create this sense of community which we've got now. It's been brilliant. We've got about 350 members. The whole idea behind it is peer-to-peer knowledge sharing. It's people getting together and helping each other out, which it really is back to the old school. People used to do it. People used to barter, before we got involved in the economy side of things of money. We would barter, and that's what we're doing here. Is you help me in one area and I'll help you in another area.
And that's what it's about. It's, and I we fully support you here at the show as well. You know that.
Yeah, absolutely. Really appreciate it.
Tell me, what you see the future being for the recruitment industry and HR?
Look, for HR, there's always going to be a requirement for HR. Now, even more so than ever, that if it is going into that remote working, people in HR have to be on the ball, even more so, to make sure that things are happening correctly. It's a whole new range of policies, work from home policies, procedures, and so on. But HR, I don't see a huge change in their role. They still are going to have to do majority of their role as it is now, albeit with little differences. Recruitment is at the moment is taking a hit, but I do see as things are picking up, there is more positivity out there. I'm already seeing it myself personally, where I've had some companies approach me to talk about doing various works for them in the coming 4 to 8 weeks. But that's where they start seeing that they're just going to have to do something. But I think overall there might be change in the recruitment industry in the way it's done. To be honest with you, I'm looking at alternative ways of offering a service. To the old school, it's probably as good a time as any to look at making changes.
See where it goes.
Exactly, it's worked for that many years, but I think there's always opportunity for change. And when things have to start from a standing start again, you may as well look at the change.
That's true. Colin, where can people catch you in recruitment there? Give us the details.
Yeah, so the website there is www.recruitment.vip, and Colin at recruitment.vip is my direct email. And then, as you said, the Ireland Together, I'm on that as well. So just irelandtogether.ie, check it out. It's 100% free for anyone to sign up to. So get onto it.
Thank you, Colin.
Appreciate that, Joe. Thanks very much.
Thank you. And yes, folks, that was Colin Harris, who has shared some information with us just regarding the recruitment agencies and HR out there. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. There you have it, folks. My last guest was Colin Harris and we were speaking about HR and recruitment. I want to kind of still stay in this space and I want to speak to Kieran Rosen from FlexTime. Kieran specialises in providing flexible working staff and scheduling and attendance systems.
Yeah, that's it.
Kieran, how are you?
Not too bad, Joe. Good to talk to you this morning in our almost post-lockdown, or we're getting ready for post-lockdown, isn't that it?
Yes, and I think people are tired, people are fed up, and the different dynamics that's going on through the world and through people's heads are making us all look at what's going on out there in the world.
Yes, yeah. And, we have to look back. I remember my dad was in business for many years before me in gents retailing, Wellsons and Thomas Street, and he went through about 6 recessions. And my grandfather was in the building business up in Terranure, and he went through several recessions, and we got out the other side. So we do the same on this occasion.
What I notice here is that people have money in their pockets, and I know that people are dying to spend. Like when they open up the hardware stores next week, you'll see a fluctuation of people going into them. Hairdressers are going to be booked up. There's so much money that people can't spend that they're still getting, their income or partial income. People that have lost their jobs are getting the pandemic and they can't spend all that at once. And I think that's going to help the economy.
Exactly. My very good friend Michael Boland up in Ballantyre Harder and his wife Denise, they're actually already starting to get back into all of this, and again, people will support local businesses like that, I'm sure. Some local businesses
have run out of paint, believe it or not.
Yeah, exactly.
On it, so
exactly.
and then the A&E will be full from everyone sticking nails in their hands and chipping away or breaking a toe or something. So that will all open up again as well. But look, Kieran, tell me about your business and tell me how you are coping, what you are doing and what you are planning to do moving forward.
Yeah, I often tell people, I remember once I stopped by the security police in Bristol Airport just going about my business, the usual, and they asked me what I did. I said, well, actually, I've been doing time for 35 years, which is true. So therefore, FlexTime started back in the 1980s. So we also have been through 3 or 4 different recessions, and this is the latest challenge we've got just after we were worrying about Brexit, etc. But our work is around flexible working. So therefore, we work with state bodies, semi-state bodies, private organisations, SMEs, you name it, and it's all in pursuance of offering staff a little bit of latitude around their working time. So it means that they can not be stuck rigidly to a 9-to-5 or regime and can build up hours and work core periods of the day. And also very topically, and this is where we see that our time has come, excuse the pun, but our time has come in the sense that flexible working, according to the Guardian newspaper this week, is going to be very predominant in the workforce, actually as a result of COVID, because more and more people will want to remain working at home after this period. Now, obviously, some of us will be delighted to get back to work after this, but to be serious, that a lot of people will want to work from home, and that's where we sit into the market. We help to facilitate that, those sort of working time schemes, and then the employees and the management use our system to record the time and, check how many flexi days they've got. Is the person on maternity leave? Is he on maternity or not?
Are they working?
Are they working? Exactly. Yeah. And our system actually just tells you if your colleague is working, whether you're working, and it's a communication tool at one
But it's
level.
Even the communication tool.
Yeah.
And here's something like I was just speaking about earlier. I made some calls to some companies and I spoke to people in customer service and they said to me, okay, we'll get that sorted. And then I questioned later on why I haven't heard back. And then when I got in touch again, it wasn't a fact, it wasn't recorded or, there was a delay or something.
Yeah.
And so with people flexi time and working now at home, I think that we still need to, I think there's some irons still need to be worked out with some organisations about still providing a service for the client.
Exactly. But it's like a lot of things that have happened as a result of COVID. people have been forced into doing things. Like, for example, now people are being forced into homework in our situation. And I'm sure in other business people have been forced to do certain things. So therefore, people will say, well, actually, I was very afraid of that. I didn't want my staff to be working at home for whatever reason. But now I see it's happening. It's not so bad. So maybe I can negotiate that they work for a day or 2 days. In fact, the government are thinking of bringing in 2 days working for the public service as part of the programme for government. But, management will still be nervous, and this is where we sit into the market. We try and stop people from being nervous. We provide a system which is like kind of a referee at a football match, whereby people key in and out and say, this is when I arrive. People don't have any problems about doing that because they're getting the payback of the flexibility. And meanwhile, management know what's going on and everybody's kept happy.
The other one as well, I heard during the week that someone said it would be perfect if we changed it from a 7-day week to an 8-day week, and people worked 4 days. Was that yourself that said it to me? Was it said people worked 4 days and another set of people worked 4 days? And,
exactly, yeah.
So
and also it could be like it's already happening, by default at homes. The mum has to look after the kids in the morning because they can't get childminders for obvious reasons. Dad looks after them in the afternoon. So therefore they work on split shifts effectively at the moment. And so therefore some of these things are happening naturally, whereas for years it took us ages to get people to want to do it and then to actually do it. Now in certain instances that they're starting to do it anyway. And we still have the role of actually being the honest broker, if you like, managing all of this for the company and for the organisation.
You knew your day would come. Huh?
Exactly.
You knew your day would come, and that's it.
Exactly.
And here's the thing: what I like about it as well, Kieran, it's tried and tested. You've been doing it for over 30 years.
Yeah,
and
exactly. Yeah.
It's people now who are going, let's test this, let's see if this works, and how are we going to do it? You're taking the guesswork out of it, and you have a strategy and a system that is proven and tested. And if they come to you, they have a better insight and scratching their head, going, "How's this going to work on?"
And for any doubting Thomas, we've done loads of research. We've researched this death over the last 30 years, which we can give you reams of evidence that shows that having this concept provides the employee with a good work-life balance, so therefore they can look after their home life, they can look after their, reduce traffic, reduce stress, CO2 emissions come down, etc. Absence reduces, and importantly, staff retention is improved by this because you've got a happier workforce.
What do you, in your opinion, do you feel needs to change? I spoke earlier on that our broadband around the country is screwed. But what do you feel needs to change for us to really bounce back?
Yeah, definitely there needs to be more money put into broadband because, it's the lifeblood of remote working. And really, if remote working is going to happen, it has to have, if you like, a highway in order for it to happen upon. So that's one of the many things that needs to happen. Also, I think mindsets need to change, not just in what we're doing, but generally that people have to become a little bit more helpful to each other. And I think that's already happening. I mean, it's quite impressive what's gone on in Ireland in terms of the way everybody has reasonably conformed with a smile on their face. When I'm walking around, there doesn't seem to be any stress. Up and down the road, we obviously can't go very far, but people are complying to what's been asked to do for the greater good, and particularly for the older people and the vulnerable people. So therefore, if we can continue that kind of spirit, if you like, as we get out of the lockdown and into our business lives as well, people will be a little bit more, conciliatory towards others. It's the way to go.
Definitely indeed. And I think everyone is ready to get out of their house.
Exactly, yeah.
Get out of their house. So,
and I'd like to thank my staff who are there, working away. Like a lot of us are silently working from home in government departments and semi-states, private organisations, just quietly working away and keeping the flag flying for Ireland.
That's it, definitely. Kieran, where can people, if they want to sort of inquire about the systems that you have tried and tested and that are in place to help organisations with flexi-time and to build a more of a positive reinforcement within their staff as well, where can they get you?
Yeah, we're on the website. It is FlexTime, www.flextime.ie, to see what we do. If you want to talk to us, you can email us at info@flextime.ie, or you can email me, Kieran Rowsome. That's Kieran.Rowsome, R-O-W-S-O-M-E. It's just spelled Kieran, C-I-A-R-A-N .R-O-W-S-O-M-E, @flextime.ie. And the phone number is 260-9680. And we're working away as normal. And there is business going on out there in our case. Obviously, some of the companies have been pretty devastated, but hopefully we'll all support them in coming back.
Kieran Rosen, thanks for coming on to Business Eye.
My pleasure, Joe, and good luck with the show, and good luck with your efforts and keeping the whole thing positive. Definitely. Yes, folks, we had some interesting guests on there talking about HR, recruitment and flexi time, working from home. My next guest is in animation, and the reason why I want to speak to them about animation is because we are so used to doing video. And I feel at the moment, animation might have a bigger part, especially because if we have social distancing, that people now, instead of using videos, might decide to get their message across animation. So in saying that, I have Dylan Healy on the line from an animation company, Animation Explainers. Dylan, are you there?
Hello, Joe. How are you doing, man?
How are you, man? How's things? How's life?
Very, very good. Very sunny here on the Isle of Man today, so I can't complain.
Can't complain, indeed, yes. Yourself and Aaron are running a lovely, successful business from Dublin, and you are reaching to people around the world as well. So, look, as you probably just heard me there talk about, animation and how important I feel it's going to be moving forward. How's the mood in your business? How are you finding clients at the moment? What's the conversations out there with the world the way it is at the moment?
Sure. So I think myself and Aaron have been pretty surprised, to be honest, Joe. Like a lot of people, we were quite apprehensive and anxious coming into this COVID period. But 2 months in now, we see that a lot of people are they're busy planning, they're busy executing things that maybe they didn't have time to do before the pandemic started. So I think a lot of the people that we're speaking to are using the COVID period as a time of reflection and planning and, getting ready to get back on the horse when business resumes as normal. So, I think we can make a case that animation can be a part of that strategy.
And making a case that it's been part of the strategy, do you see that it's going to be growing where even we see now on TV, we see that, there's animation ads coming out?
Of course.
Is there a sort of, like, I know you're hoping, but can you see then there's a sort of a shift on how people are looking at it? And how are you now developing the projects if people are all working remotely?
Sure. So, I think the first thing to say, Joe, is that, the way we work, we were quite, well aligned and ready, for a pandemic like this. Due to the fact that, everybody that we work with works remotely themselves. So I think, we can definitely capitalize on that. In regard to the social distancing comment, I think what you'll see is, and you've probably already seen it on television, is there's a lot of campaigns that are using animation. Notably, Domino's UK and Ireland have started using an animated video, very similar to the work we do. So I think the animation stuff we were doing was quite fringe and maybe used online last year. But what we're seeing now is it coming to the forefront because people are starting to realize that it's very simple. It's a quick process to come up with these animations, and people can't be in a open space together filming anymore for the time being until a vaccine is found. So I think animation can certainly help a lot of organizations, products and services, in order to get that message across in a way that, kind of abides with the social distancing rules during the COVID period.
But you're also, one of the benefits of yourselves is that a lot of your clients are, around the world, and you've been working with them remotely anyway. But so for yourselves, you probably have adapted to this fairly quickly.
Yeah, I think I won't lie to you, Joe. I think we were quite shocked at when this all started to kick off at the start of March. Like everyone, you get a bit spooked. This is myself and Aaron's first business, and we just didn't really know what we were coming into. But we did have to cut some costs, but we kept the show on the road. We kept banging the drum. We kept the same mantra that we have done for a year or two now, and things are going okay for us. We recently signed a contract with UCD for a video project, which is obviously a great accolade and a big name for us to have on the portfolio, which is great. But there's definitely an appetite and a demand out there, Joe, that I hope will continue throughout this period and onwards throughout 2020.
I think so. I really do. I think so indeed. Dylan, where can people reach you if they want to inquire about animation to help promote their business?
Sure. So you can catch me at Dylan, DYLAN, at animationexplainers.com. And our website is www.animationexplainers.com. Thanks for the opportunity, Joe. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Dylan, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Well, folks, there you have it. We're speaking to a few people about their business. We spoke about animation. We've spoke about recruitment. We spoke about flexi time. My next guest, I want to speak about LinkedIn because, as we know, we are all going online. We are all looking for new ways or ways that we can grow our own business. And I felt that it would be important to speak to someone who is an expert in LinkedIn, someone that can offer a service to help us all develop our own business and get leads and make those sales, because that's the lifeblood of a company, apart from staff, of course, is making sales. So I have the LinkedIn lady online, Vicky Keenan. How are you, Vicky?
I'm great, Joe. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you in this world that we are living in?
Well, I am fantastic. As you know, most of my networking is done over on LinkedIn. So it's given me a great opportunity to really reach out to more and more people and build up more and more relationships. I think a lot of people are showing more empathy at the moment during lockdown. So it's a really great opportunity for businesses to take a step back and really look at their network and leverage it to the best of their ability.
And do you know, one of the things when I was speaking to you just before the call as well, that, you know, you're a mother, you have small children, your husband's working at home as well. So even though you are, you know, the expert in LinkedIn, you're still a human being, you know, and you talk about, you know, compassion and empathy. We spoke about it. How are you coping with the small kids and the homework and splitting up the day? How is that affecting you and your business?
I think things just take a little bit longer than they normally would, and it's just adapting to a different routine. So myself and my husband, we take turns in homeschooling the children. For example, now he's looking after the kids while I'm on this call with you, so I shouldn't be interrupted. So it's really just it's working together and finding that balance that works for both of us. So we are pretty much both working full time, but definitely it's just the way things are. Things are taking that little bit longer than they normally would, and it's just really adapting to that and accepting that that's just the way life is at the moment.
Do you know, when I hear homeschooling, when people mention, you know what triggers me and goes into my mind? The Little House on the Prairie.
Oh, not like that here, I can tell you.
No, well, that's it. You know, homeschooling and the Ingalls running down the hill. Do you remember that? For those people who know what Little House on the Prairie, for those don't, Google it. Yeah. But that's what I think about when I think of homeschooling. And you're right, like it's different dynamics for different people on it. And I know that people are finding, and even ourselves, you know, something that you would take you a day to do can take you 2 days or 3 days. So these are the changes. But jumping apart from that, there's huge opportunities out there for people if they look. And
There really is, yeah.
And one of the things as well, which yourself is when people are looking, they look, where do they go? And the business community we know is LinkedIn, and we call LinkedIn our Rolodex. It's finding those people, being able to do research and have those conversations. So
Yeah.
what would you recommend? Look, give us a couple of tips. I know you don't want to give everything away, but a couple of tips of what people can do to help them connect with people on LinkedIn.
Okay, so the first thing I'll say is, I don't know if most of the listeners are already on LinkedIn. I'm kind of assuming that most people are on LinkedIn.
I would agree.
Yeah, and if you're on LinkedIn, the biggest thing that a lot of people don't do is they don't connect with the message. And when I say connect, that's just finding somebody that you want to actually reach out to on LinkedIn and hitting that connect button. You need to personalize the message, because it's now more and more that people want to actually reach out. What's in it for me? Why should I connect back with you? So you need to give somebody a reason for connecting with you, and personalizing that message will go a long way in doing that.
Okay.
And the other thing I think works really, really well on LinkedIn is if you want to actually follow somebody on LinkedIn, say for example, Joe, that myself and yourself weren't connected, and I saw you as an ideal client, I saw you as an ideal prospect, and I wanted to reach out to you on LinkedIn. A great tip is to actually follow the person first on LinkedIn before connecting with them. And when you follow them on LinkedIn, all of their content will pop up in your feed, and it gives you a great opportunity to engage with their content and really get to know them on a deeper level and know what issues they're having or anything like that. So when you actually reach out to connect with them, you can do it on a much deeper level and on commonality. I guess the other thing I'd say is people with big networks. Back maybe when LinkedIn kind of was really starting off, people would actually go and just connect with everyone. I would say don't connect with everyone. Have a network full of people that you can help and that can help you. There's really no point in connecting with people that can't help you. So by only connecting with people that you can help and can help you, your content is actually going to become a lot more relevant to your network and will spread a lot more. And I'm going to be a bit controversial here, and I would say to everyone they should go through their network and actually do a big purge and figure out if there's people in there that don't make sense or don't engage. Just get rid of them. Just remove them.
Yeah, I looked at my LinkedIn profile there the other day, and I realised there was a amount of people in there that don't engage, and you can look to see who hasn't engaged in 12 months on it or whatever, and you can sort of do that cull on it. No-nos.
Okay, the big one of the no-nos.
Give me one big no-no.
Oh gosh, I've a few. Okay, one big no-no I people see not making the best use out of the banner, which is, I think it's defaulted to a color blue on LinkedIn. You should actually use that real estate and put up a nice banner that you can go and create on LinkedIn. So that banner is just literally behind your profile image on LinkedIn. Joe, don't you?
I do indeed, Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So it's great real estate.
Free advertising.
It's free advertising. It's the first thing people see when they go and look at your profile. So a lot of people don't make good use out of that. They'll put up a bit of a nonsense image or something that doesn't really make sense. So go and get a professional banner done if you want over on, there's lots of outsourcing websites like Fiverr, or even do it yourself over on Canva.
Yeah.
That would be my biggest thing that people don't make the best use out of. And the other thing I'd say is your LinkedIn headline. A lot of people put in something like CEO or business owner or something like that. If you're prospecting actively on LinkedIn and trying to really engage with your audience, what I would say is almost have a little mini elevator pitch in here. And my anatomy of that is I help X achieve Y so they can do Z. So really, really simple. So you're talking about the result that you give your particular prospect or the people that are visiting your LinkedIn profile.
That's it.
Those are my two.
Solve the problem.
Solve the problem. Exactly.
Hashtag LinkedIn Lady if people want to check you on LinkedIn, I believe. Also, you have a free course as well to help people.
I do. I have a free course. If you guys want to come on over to LinkedIn, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm Vicky Keenan. And then, of course, my website is vickykeenan.com. But I also have a free masterclass coming up on LinkedIn on the 14th of May at 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. So okay.
You can find that on my website. Register. You can register for it or connect with me on LinkedIn and I'll send you the details.
So you have the free course and then you're running a mastermind coming up on the 14th of May as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
Exactly. Yeah.
Vicky, great talking to you. Look, I know you're powering ahead. I know you're working on some secret sauce stuff in the background as well. That's coming, and it's really going to you've over this time you've been really testing some things to do on LinkedIn, and I know that you've some great stuff coming ahead. So if anyone's out there, I recommend connect with you, because what's coming down the tracks is going to be amazing. It's
exciting. Can't wait.
Exciting. Vicky, thank you for coming on to Business Eye, and look, you take care.
Thanks, Joe. Take care.
See you later. Bye. And there you have it, folks. Yes, some interesting guests on the show today talking about their business, talking about what they're doing. It seems that everyone that I'm speaking to is positive. They have a positive outlook. They can see the opportunities ahead. Like ourselves, we can see the opportunities here at Business Eye, and the station we're still playing music, we're interviewing, and life is still going on remotely, but it's still going on. And if anyone is interested in out there about growing their business, developing their business, and want to really look into more of a sales process and how they can sell, I also have a free online course, and it is www.jdc.ie, and you'll find the course there. All you need to do is share your first name and your email address, and you will get, it's a 4-module of video that will get the mind working, getting you thinking about what you're doing, and then get you on that path to sales as well. So until next week, I'd like to thank our sponsors. That is the local enterprise office in Dunleary Rathdown, and I want to thank you, the audience, people that are sending us lovely messages. People are saying, look, love the show, keep on doing it. So we can't do this without you. So I thank you all very, very much. I hope you are keeping safe. I hope that you aren't going insane out there as well, and things will change, and things will change for the better. I do honestly believe.